Hello, welcome to the Working with Community Conflict series. If you haven't done so already, take a couple of minutes to visit our How to Use This Site section. It will briefly outline how to access the assignments and additional material relating to the course. If you are watching this with a study group, then take time after each exercise to discuss what you have found. If you are meeting with a study group later, we highly recommend you complete all the exercises in this session and make a note of your thoughts. In this first session, Managing Conflict, a Positive Approach, we are going to look at conflict from a number of angles. How we as individuals engage with conflict, different modes of conflict management, but above all, how to see conflict as a potential opportunity.
What we're going to look at now is what conflict is, and perhaps also a little bit about what it's not. Very often, conflicts in our daily lives are rooted in disputes over resources. But resources can be lots of things to lots of people. It can be who gets the best bedroom in the house, or it can be who gets the new build in the local community, or why has somebody got the job that you wanted. Conflict can also be disputes over different values and beliefs. Sometimes people think they should have something because they have a different set of beliefs to the next person about what is right and wrong, who should have something, who doesn't. One thing we're also going to consider in a lot of detail is conflict. Is it really violence? Why do we put those two ideas together in our minds? Can we separate them out? And what does that mean if we think of conflict not as violence, but as an opportunity to work out how to communicate better with each other? Let's look a little further at that idea of conflict and violence as being two different things. Conflict can be defined as a relationship between people who are struggling to share limited goals. Violence, on the other hand, can take the form of actions, of words, of systems and structures that actually, in fact, create psychological harm. Those are the two definitions that we're going to work with on the course. I'm going to take that idea a little bit further again. For us at Community Resolve and for conflict workers all over the world, would say conflict is inevitable. It's part of the human condition and it can't be eliminated. The question is, how do we manage that conflict? Do we think of it as an opportunity, or do we think of it as something to be scared of and to move away from? What we're going to do now is we're going to look a little bit at conflict dynamics. And what's really interesting about conflict is it doesn't matter what level you're engaging with it, whether in the family, in a group, a community, or nationally, even internationally, the same dynamics occur. David Augsburger wrote some very interesting work on cross-cultural conflict, and he says conflicts are universally similar, culturally distinct, and individually unique. And we'll be looking at that idea more as we go forward. The cartoon on the screen is a joke, of course, but it says really a lot about conflict and how it develops. Early engagement with conflict is a really good idea to stop it escalating. And typical examples of how conflict grow include the gathering of allies, of friends as we retell the story, and the breakdown in communication, and so we stop talking to each other, hence the tree between the two desks. But I also like the grumpy faces, and I also like the fact that the computers have been turned away from each other. So the body language is saying everything it has to say about how conflict is growing in the room.
If you just pause the film now and take 15 to 20 minutes to think about the questions here. And then if you want to, you can download a handout from the additional materials section on the homepage. Think about how tensions or disagreements escalate, how they share certain similarities across all levels.